Imagine you're driving, you pull up at a red light, and the driver next to you pulls out a gun and points it at you. That's what one Savannah woman says happened to her. That is true. As you can see behind me, this building is locked and empty here at the Chatham County Board of Elections Annex, with still thousands of votes to be counted. Shannon, conditions continue to deteriorate here in Hampton County. That means flooding, and a lot of it. You can even still see standing water surrounding the area that we're at right now. What's usually one of the most busiest areas, lined with bars and restaurants, where you'll most likely see those changes immediately. However, I spoke to one business owner on Tybee who says that these changes will end up doing more harm for them than good. The governor is referring to getting vaccinated, and the quicker that you receive a shot and get one of these, the quicker you can get back to enjoying events like this year's Vidalia Onion Festival.
Ahmaud Arbery is going to bring about change, and I'm most thankful for that. It's been a struggle, very painful. I miss my son. I often think the way that he left, and it was so unfair. It's really been a struggle.
Just feet away from his grave, the mother of Ahmaud Arbery, Wanda Cooper Jones, and several family members and friends gathered to remember their loved one.
Just sitting there knowing that my son wasn't sitting beside me. He was actually lying out there under a slab. I mean, knowing that I can't get him and take him home with me. Not today, not tomorrow, not forever.
And on the anniversary of his death, a lawsuit filed against those involved.
This time last year, there was a false narrative going around about her son. And if she didn't fight, if she didn't stand up for his name, that narrative would have set in that he was in the midst of a burglary.
And for the loss of her son, Cooper Jones says something needs to be done.
And how they went out and they deputized those two men and given them the rights to go out and not only chase a guy, but actually kill him. Someone has to answer that as well.
When I ran in 2018, I said we need to move away from signature match because it is subjective.
Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger is fully behind Senate Bill 202. This, as several lawsuits have been filed against it. Supporters say it will bring peace of mind to voters. Those who oppose it say it's just another example of voter suppression.
People are running elections aren't looking left or right. They're looking down to follow the law and follow the process.
Raffensperger himself came under scrutiny during the 2020 election season. Now he feels vindicated. How important was it for you, after just what you experienced yourself, to get this done?
I stood up that portal last year during the emergency pandemic rulings that we had, so we could go that way with voter identification, photo ID, with driver's license numbers. And so the state has now implemented that in state law, verifying that I made the right decision last year to do that.
Still, Raffensperger is fully prepared to defend his record.
I've proven that I'll continue to fight hard to protect democracy, that I'll be fighting bad actors from either the left or the right to make sure the truth is told.
This has been going on for years. It's an ongoing thing.
Property owners Nahalia and Charlene Kennedy say this past weekend they were once again faced with a familiar problem.
The sewer has been backing up in our yard and flooding the yard ankle deep. And we've called the city. They've patched it, but clearly it's not working.
The smell is awful, and it's just this has been going on, like I said, in and out for years.
While heavy rain may usually cause problems with flooding, they say it has no impact on this issue. Ludowici Mayor James Fuller spoke to WJCL.
We currently know that we have a problem, especially in the area in which Holly and Charlene Kennedy live is one of the main areas. We have them throughout town.
The city didn't want to come out of his truck and look.
Mayor Fuller says the city is working on the issue. In this video, you can see the damage left behind. Now these residents just want support for this destructive and hazardous problem.
It's a health hazard.
Yeah, it's a health
hazard. The city of Ludowici needs to step up and do what they're supposed to do with the grant money that they have received to do this water. All the plumbing, city plumbing. It's horrible. Help us.
I could have lost my life or something that he called.
Imagine you're driving, you pull up at a red light, and the driver next to you pulls out a gun and points it at you. That's what one Savannah woman says happened to her.
Then he flashed his gun and showed me that he has one. And not only did he do that, he caught the back and pointed it at me, like holding both of his hands on the gun and pointing it at me.
This is the photo she was able to capture of that man. It's been shared thousands of times on social media. After it was taken, she immediately called police, and Thursday night, he was identified as 31-year-old Joseph Jackson and arrested.
I avoided the situation. And he could have easily pulled the trigger and that would have been it.
Now she's passing this advice along to anyone who unfortunately finds themselves in the same situation.
Be aware of your surroundings. Road rage is serious, and I think that's what he was. If you're in a rush to get somewhere, right, make sure you leave a few minutes before so you don't have to go through nothing crazy like that, nothing traumatic.